She didn't see me. She was too busy laughing at his jokes with her hand resting on his chest like it had always belonged there. That's what I remember most. Not the kissing. Not the way she leaned in like she was on autopilot. Just the comfort in it. The routine. I wasn't supposed to be there. It was her boss's party, strictly for staff. No plus ones, no husbands, no outsiders. Corporate policy, she said. But I already knew that was a lie before she said it. I knew it from how quickly she changed the subject when I asked where the party was. I knew it from how fast she shut her laptop when I walked by the night before. I'd been ignored before. But this was surgical. So yeah, I found the address on my own. Wasn't even hard. Took me 20 minutes and a few guesses at her email password. It was his name. Seriously, his damn name. I didn't go in with a plan. I just parked across the street, turned off my lights, and waited. She pulled up around 7:30, wearing a red dress I'd never seen before. Not hidden in a closet. Not in the laundry. Brand new. Tied in the back. Too short for work. Too perfect for him. Before she went inside, she stood by the front steps and checked her reflection in her phone like it was a mirror. Reapplied her lipstick. Adjusted her necklace. Smiled. That was the moment I stopped wondering if I was being paranoid. Real quick, while you're watching, tell me where you're tuning in from. Anyway, she went inside. I waited 10 minutes. Then I pulled the flash drive out of my glove box. Audio recorder. Slim. Black. Voice activated. I'd tested it twice the night before. Worked like a charm. Then I grabbed her bag. See, before she left, she came home to change, and in her rush, she forgot her purse in the kitchen. Big leather tote. Heavy with stuff she didn't need. I took it, drove it to the party, and walked right up to the porch while everyone was inside drinking wine and stroking each other's egos. I placed it gently by the front door, right where she'd see it. Slipped the USB in the side pocket. Dropped my wedding ring beside it. And walked back to the car. 12 minutes later, she stepped outside with him. Laughing. Swaying a little. He kissed her on the neck while she bent down and picked up the bag. Then she reached inside. She saw it. The flash drive. The ring. My ring. And she froze. You ever seen someone realize their whole lie just collapsed in 3 seconds? That was the moment. She didn't grab the bag right away. She stood there, holding it open, just staring at the USB and my wedding ring sitting at the bottom like a crime scene she hadn't planned for. Her boss, Bryce, was still beside her, talking about something. Probably a deal, maybe a vacation. Who cares? She wasn't hearing a word of it. Her hand was frozen midair like she'd just found a spider crawling across her keys. Then she zipped the bag shut like nothing happened, turned on her heel, and went back inside with that fake, plastic smile she uses when she's trying to keep it together. But I saw it, the change in her face. You can't hide that kind of panic, not from someone who used to love you. That's when I knew she'd take the bait. I waited until midnight. She didn't come out. A couple people left early, but not her. Not him. She stayed long after the music died down and the porch emptied. Lights were still on in the living room, though the house was dead quiet from the outside. I imagined what was happening behind those windows. I didn't let myself dwell on it too long. I already knew. At 12:43 a.m., I got the notification on my phone. She had plugged in the USB. I had set it to send me a silent ping as soon as it was accessed. No files, no video, just an audio recording that activated as soon as it detected sound. It had one job: capture whatever went on in that house. And if she had nothing to hide, she wouldn't have needed to listen. But she did listen, and I watched the seconds tick by on my screen like a countdown. The recording was exactly 46 minutes long. Now, I didn't play it right there in the car. I wanted to be alone when I heard it, not surrounded by the sound of crickets and bad memories. So I drove back home, slow, like I was dragging the weight of that bag behind my car. She still hadn't texted me, still hadn't called, didn't even ask if I was awake. And by the time I got to the driveway, her location showed she was still at the house. With him, sitting under the same roof where my ring had called her bluff. I grabbed a beer from the fridge, locked the bedroom door, and sat on the floor with the lights off. Then I hit play. The first 3 seconds were just muffled rustling. Fabric, maybe the zipper of the bag. Then came her voice. What the hell is this? Her tone wasn't scared. It was pissed. Defensive. I could hear movement in the background. Glasses clinking, someone laughing far off. Then a man's voice, low and smooth. Something wrong. Bryce. I'd only heard him speak once at a company function. She dragged me to last fall. The guy had that polished, smug tone like every word out of his mouth was part of a sales pitch. She didn't answer right away. There was a pause. Then, he was here. Daryl was here. He dropped this in my bag. More silence. Then a short, sharp laugh from Bryce. Are you serious? He just showed up? I don't know when. But this? She must have been holding up the USB. This thing records. It's already been running. Turn it off. I don't know how. I smiled. Of course she didn't. I specifically bought the one with no buttons, no indicators, no off switch. Once activated, it recorded everything until it ran out of battery. And that tiny red ring box I repurposed? It made the perfect case for it. Bryce's voice dropped. Okay, don't panic. Just say you found it outside. You didn't open it. You don't know where it came from. You think he's gonna believe that? She snapped. He left his wedding ring in here, Bryce. He didn't respond to that one. The rest of the recording was them arguing in low voices, moving through rooms, whispering just out of range. Most of it was a blur, until the part that really stuck with me. The part that clenched my stomach like a fist. I told you this would get messy, Bryce said. You wanted this. You kept showing up. I didn't chase you. And then she said, real quiet, I know, but I thought I could control it. You ever feel something inside you break so suddenly you actually look down, expecting to see the pieces? That's what that moment did to me. She wasn't tricked. She wasn't seduced. She wasn't lonely. She wanted it. That's when the anger started creeping in, pushing past the sadness. Because now I wasn't just some clueless husband who got played. I was the one who saw the whole storm coming and stood there like a damn scarecrow. I didn't finish the beer. I opened the second one. At 2:07 a.m., her location showed she was finally on the move. Coming home. And I was wide awake. When the door finally opened, it was like watching someone walk onto a stage they weren't ready for. Lindsay stepped inside quietly, like maybe I'd be asleep, like maybe she could sneak into the shower and pretend the night never happened. But the second she saw me sitting at the kitchen table, no lights, just the fridge humming behind me, she stopped cold. Her eyes went straight to my hands. The beer. The absence of my ring. She didn't speak right away. Neither did I. I let the silence sit heavy between us. She stood there with her purse still on her shoulder, keys in one hand, phone in the other. Her lips were parted like she was halfway through rehearsing a sentence, but couldn't decide which version to use. I finally broke it. So, how was the party? She flinched at how calm I sounded. That threw her off more than yelling would've. She walked over slowly, set her purse down at the far end of the table like it was ticking. It was fine, she said, like a liar trying to keep her voice even. Just work stuff. Tiring. I nodded. Tiring. She hesitated. Yeah. Long day. Another pause. Then I leaned forward. You know, I checked the bag. That hit. Her eyes shifted. She didn't ask which bag. She didn't pretend she didn't know what I meant. She just said, you had no right. I didn't need a right, I said, tapping the table once. I needed the truth. She pulled out a chair, but didn't sit down. Just stood there gripping the back of it like she needed support. Daryl, I can explain. Can you? I raised my eyebrows. Because Bryce seemed pretty clear on the audio. Her whole face twitched when I said his name. I saw the panic behind her eyes, the math she was doing in her head, trying to figure out what I heard, what I knew, what she could still hide. What do you want me to say? She asked. I stared at her for a long second. Start with how long? Her throat tightened. She looked down. A few months. Was it just him? She looked up fast. What? No. Of course not. I smiled a little, bitter. Of course not. She stepped forward like she was going to reach for me, then thought better of it. It was a mistake. I laughed. Once. No humor in it. No, Lindsay. A mistake is forgetting your anniversary. You planned this. I stood up, chair sliding back across the tile, and I walked past her, heading for the bedroom. I wasn't done yet. I didn't sleep that night. Not even a little. Just laid there on top of the covers, staring at the ceiling while she cried in the next room like she was the one who got stabbed in the chest. Every now and then I heard her pacing, probably rehearsing whatever half apology she was going to try and feed me in the morning. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But the image of her standing beside him, smiling like she hadn't just gutted our marriage, kept flashing in my head like a glitch I couldn't erase. At some point around 5:30, I got up, grabbed my keys, and left. I didn't tell her where I was going. I didn't care if she panicked. I wanted her to wonder. I needed her to sit in that silence and feel it burn. I didn't go far, just drove. Gas station coffee, quiet streets, engine humming under my fingers. My phone buzzed twice. Both from her. I didn't open the messages. Instead, I drove to my brother Nate's place. He's never been a fan of Lindsay, not since she flaked on his wedding last year because of some client dinner. He opened the door half asleep, hair everywhere, boxers and hoodie, and just said, "Dude, you look like hell. Can I crash here for a bit?" He didn't ask questions, just stepped aside and let me in. I finally told him everything over burnt toast and lukewarm eggs. The USB, the party, the recording, her face when she saw the ring. By the end of it, Nate just sat back in his chair, shaking his head. "You always gave her too much credit," he said. "Yeah, well, I used to believe in her." That's the part that hurt the most. I believed her. Even when she started pulling away, I blamed myself. Thought maybe I wasn't enough, wasn't making her happy. I was bending over backwards trying to fix things, and she was out there building a second life like ours was just a backup. Around 10 a.m., she called. I stared at the screen until it went dark. Then I answered the second time. Not because I wanted to hear her voice. Because I wanted to control the conversation. Before she could say a word, I told her not to speak. I told her to pack a bag and go stay with her sister. I told her I needed space, and if she respected me at all, she'd give it to me. She said one thing before hanging up. "I never meant to hurt you." And I told her the truth. "Yeah, but you did anyway." She didn't leave that day. Said she needed time to process everything. That was rich, coming from the woman who'd spent months lying straight to my face without blinking. I didn't go back home. Nate offered to let me crash on the couch as long as I needed, and honestly, the quiet was addicting. No perfume clinging to the air. No fake kisses on the cheek. No watching her type for hours with a fake smile, pretending she wasn't texting another man. But she kept calling, messaging. She even emailed me a long, rambling apology like she was applying for a second chance. I didn't read most of it, but one line stood out. It wasn't serious with him. That was her angle now. Downplay it. Make it seem like a mistake that could be scrubbed clean. Like she just lost her way. She actually used that phrase. Lost her way. Like she took a wrong turn and accidentally landed in another man's bed. The next day, I went back to the house while she was at work. I wasn't ready to talk. I just wanted to look at the place without her in it. I needed to see it through different eyes. Her shoes by the door. Her coffee mug on the counter. Her robe hanging from our bedroom door like it hadn't been wrapped around a lie. I didn't expect to find anything new. I wasn't snooping. But when I opened the closet to grab some of my things, I noticed a second phone box tucked in the corner, way behind her boots. It wasn't hers. I opened it. Inside was a cheap prepaid phone. One of those burner phones you buy at gas stations. It was off, but when I powered it up, the last text on the lock screen was from Bryce. It read, "He doesn't know? Keep it quiet. I'll fix everything." That phone wasn't for talking to me. It was for keeping me out. And that's when everything shifted again. Because it wasn't just cheating. It was coordination. It was long-term. She'd taken steps. Bought a secret device. Deleted messages. Covered her tracks. You don't do that for a one-night mistake. I didn't take the phone. I left it right where I found it. But I took a photo of the screen and forwarded it to her work email. No message. No explanation. She wanted space to process? Fine. Let her process that. She called me 7 times in a row after that email. I didn't pick up. I didn't even look at the voicemails. I already knew what they'd be. Her crying, her begging, Her trying to twist the narrative like she hadn't just gotten caught hiding a damn burner phone, like she was some kind of Laurent spy. I'd already done the math. You don't keep a secret phone unless you're managing a double life. It wasn't just about Bryce anymore. It was about who she had become. That night, I stayed in my car outside her sister's place. I just wanted to see her face. Not to talk. Not to argue. Just to see if she even looked guilty without an audience. When she finally stepped outside, she wasn't crying. She wasn't panicked. She looked put together. Clean makeup. Hair straightened. Purse slung over one shoulder like she was heading to brunch. And then he pulled up. Bryce. In that same white Tesla. She didn't hesitate. She walked right over, kissed him through the window like she'd been doing it every Saturday morning for years, then got in the passenger seat. So that was it. No shame. No regret. Less than 48 hours after everything went to hell, and she was already playing house with the man she swore meant nothing. I followed them. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe it was unhealthy or obsessive or whatever label people throw on it from the outside. But after 10 years of loyalty, of fixing her car, making her coffee, rubbing her feet after 12-hour shifts, after all of that, I needed to see where she really wanted to be. They drove downtown. Not to a hotel. Not to some secret apartment. To a real estate office. They were looking at condos. I watched them walk in through the glass doors like two people starting a new life together. Laughing. Holding hands. Her head on his shoulder while they waited in the lobby. And that's when it finally hit me. This wasn't just an affair. This was a full exit plan. The burner phone, the late nights, the fake meetings, she'd been phasing me out of her life one calculated step at a time. I wasn't the husband she cheated on. I was the guy she was already halfway done replacing. And the worst part? She still hadn't asked if I was okay. I didn't confront her that day. No screaming scene in the parking lot. No dramatic outburst. I let her enjoy her little fantasy while I quietly built the reality she wasn't ready for. When I got back to Nate's place, I made 3 calls. First, to a lawyer, my cousin Greg, who owed me one after I fixed his AC unit last summer. Second, to the bank to lock down our joint accounts. Third, to my HR department. Lindsay had been using my health insurance. Not anymore. By the end of the week, the divorce papers were drafted. I had all the evidence I needed. The audio recording, the burner phone photo, and screenshots of her and Bryce house hunting. Courtesy of a friend of mine who worked in that same real estate office. Yeah, small world. I served her the papers at her job. Greg had them sent through a process server who dropped them off right at the front desk of her office tower. She had to walk down and accept them in front of Bryce and her coworkers. I wasn't there, but from what I heard, she went pale. Couldn't even fake a smile that time. A week later, Bryce was fired. Apparently, he violated some company policy about relationships between managers and direct reports. Turns out, HR doesn't like being lied to, especially when you're both dumb enough to leave a paper trail. Lindsay lost her job too. Not officially fired, but asked to resign. Her reputation was shot. No references. No LinkedIn endorsements. Just a quiet exit and a bunch of burned bridges. Meanwhile, I started over. I moved into a new place, small, but clean, quiet. I fixed it up myself. I went out with Nate and the guys more. I stopped checking my phone every 5 minutes. And for the first time in a long time, I wasn't walking on eggshells wondering what kind of mood she'd be in when she walked through the door. She texted me once after the dust settled. Just one line. I didn't think you'd actually leave. I stared at it for a full minute before deleting it. She thought I'd stick around. That I'd let it slide like all the other times she pushed the line just far enough. But she underestimated the quiet ones. The ones who don't yell. The ones who wait. The ones who notice everything and say nothing until it's too late. And now? Now she's stuck in a condo she can't afford, with a man who lost everything trying to keep her. Me? I got my peace back. Was the husband right to stay silent and play the long game? Or should he have confronted her face to face? Leave your answer in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this one.